So, Blackmail, we're now back and ready to go. This is a brand new year, and I know that you've got a lot of things on the agenda this time around. What can we say that's going to be happening this first edition of our return to hard copy this time around? Because we're looking at all kinds of situations from last year into now this year, 2026.
Well, Mr. McKinney, we're actually back, and I'm excited to be here. For our first program, we can look into the asylum bill in relation to what the Parliament tried to pass last year. And we're going to encourage Mother Pratt to continue to look at that and not sign it because it's going to be a detriment to this country. On the other hand, we're also going to look into our pet peeve in terms of immigration and the Constitution as it relates to citizenship in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Mr. McKinney, we are on a mission to save this country. And you know what? We will do it in 2026.
At Paradise Air Conditioning, we have all the products that you need for your air conditioning and refrigeration needs. We stock ductless, central air, and VRF systems. Our product line includes refrigeration and air conditioning parts and materials. The units we service, sell, and install include CIAC, Pipe Carrier, Rude, Ring, Train, Unico, Comfort Star, and Everwell. We offer residential, commercial, and marine services. We are centrally located in the heart of town at number 275 East Street. That's just opposite the Anglican Seventh-day Adventist Church and the same complex as Budget Meets number 3. You can telephone us at 601-2625. That's 601-2625. Call us today, Monday through Friday, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. At Paradise Air Conditioning, keeping you cool is our dream. Keeping you comfortable is our goal. Call Paradise today. Be sure to stay cool all year round, especially when those hot summer months roll in. Keep cool. Cool Tech. Located on Williams Valley Highway, Cool Tech is your number one affordable air conditioning center. They install and service everything they sell. That means prompt and reliable service 24/7. Cool Tech, the only way to stay cool, guaranteed. Call Cool Tech right now at 341-5665. Call Cool Tech today.
Central Supercenter, your one-stop shop for all your wholesale restaurant supplies. We also offer the best deals in meats, groceries, seafood, and household products. We pride ourselves on making shopping convenient. Visit our store today, East Street North, Mason Edition, or place your order via our website at www.centralsupercenter.com or download our mobile app from the Play Store. At Central Supercenter, located East Street North, Mason Edition. We've got it all, and we also ship to the Bounty Islands.
All set?
Yep.
Welcome all to this edition of Hard Copy. We're live today, and of course, we've got with us Lincoln Bain. He's going to be here with us this afternoon as we chit chat the afternoon away because a lot of things have been happening here in our beautiful Bahamas. Not some things that we would prefer because a lot of those things have been happening from a point of view of media bias and the rest of it. And he had such a tackle in such a situation today when it came to media bias. He tried to call into a talk show and he was cut off politely and cut off definitely and cut off again and cut off again and cut off again. And yes, he didn't get to say what he wanted to say simply because he was defending himself against the onslaught of a Pia Glover, who was talking about this whole matter with the Chinese people going into a park in Golden Isles, and they were painting the park and all that, and Lincoln Bain and those have taken exception to it, saying that so many people in the Bahamas needed to be working. And yes, their whole thing was that, listen, man, they want to see Bahamians working. And that has just been the tenor of events that's been happening here in the Bahamas these days. And a lot of people have problems with it. So we welcome you today on this Tuesday, January the 6th, 2026. And it's right now 5:25 in the afternoon. So how is it going, Mr. Lincoln Bain? I know that you've had some share of problems with media in recent times. We've been talking about media problems in recent times because media just seems to be a whole lot biased in many, many areas these days. Now, that's just not me. I was the one who's been talking about it, that it's biased in the media. And some people saying that, well, they don't see anything wrong with it. But then again, a lot of things are not coming to the fore. A lot of things are not being raised by media, and the media enterprises are just simply not dealing with the job in a proper way that they should be dealing with the job because we are the keepers of the gate. The media is the fourth estate of the country. And yes, we know that we've got to do a job to inform the Bahamian people. And that is all that we try to do here on the station today, inform the Bahamian people. And so when it is that you went to the Nassau Garden or you called into the Nassau Garden, you could not get a place on that particular show to defend yourself and your good name because most people do that. Whenever somebody is on the show, if a person takes exception to what they're saying, they will call and defend it. And you should be allowed to talk. That's only sensible. And that did not happen. So this is just the whole crux of the matter leading into today's show because really, you should have been able to talk. You should have been able to say what you had to say. And any journalist would just welcome what you have to say because no foul, no harm. There's nothing wrong with it. But here it is. Media has done the job that they are used to doing these days in the modern day Bahamas when it comes to media. Gone are the days, my friends, when we had the real people like Vern Dowell and Gladstone Thurston and Anthony Forbes and Athena Damionis and Clunas Devaney and all those people who were really the big boys when it came to journalism in this country. And they did a good job. Gone are the days of people like P. Anthony White and Nikki Kelly. Those days are gone. And what is happening now, we've got to get used to some new things that are now happening in the media because the media is not doing their job as the fourth estate.
Mhm.
For instance, we don't even have a situation where we know what is actually going on with this whole thing about the act. What's it called?
The Asylum Act.
No, not the Asylum Act.
Yes.
I'm talking about the act for the renewal of when people are the Information Act. That's what I'm talking about.
Freedom of Information.
Freedom of Information Act. That's what I'm talking about. See, we're supposed to be on that case and ask them, how come you all didn't do this thing yet?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, Athena Damionis would have been on the case. I mean, relentlessly on the case, asking, this thing ain't happened yet. And that would be stories pump out, pump out, pump out all the time because we wanted to get it done.
Mhm.
The Tribune used to be hard at that kind of thing. Now I believe that the entire force has gone kind of like low and lull, and their whole thing is now, follow the dogmas of no one. I don't know.
Mm.
See, we're not doing our jobs anymore, and as a result of it, media is missing. It's missing in the whole flux of things, and we don't know what is going on in our country anymore. Too many things have been able to slide. This fellow did that, let it slide. This fellow did that, I guess, let it slide. We have to get on the case and become the real media again. In fact, the international press depends upon you being a real media. If everybody is on the take to the point where they are doing favors to other people, we're never going to get the truth about anything. And that's the hard, cold facts of the matter. And I'm sure that other people have been complaining about the same thing. Now, here it is today. You landed into a situation where they're talking dead bad with you. They're saying what they feel like saying, and you can't even defend yourself, even though you're able, quite capable of handling this thing and saying this what you had to say. But they didn't let you on. Now, let's talk about that first, and then we're going to delve into some other areas of notoriety because we've got tremendous problems in this country. The other big problem that we got in this country right now, Lincoln Bain, is this that people are not understanding what's happening with this verification thing.
Mhm.
The media's job is to make sure that people understand what this whole verification thing is. I call it a thing because I believe that this verification thing is just another way of saying that they're going to re register a lot of people. That's one thing. The other thing is that they don't even need you to come and bring your address. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Mhm.
They don't need you to bring the registrar department doesn't need you to bring your address into the registry to make sure that we know where you live on this side of the road, we know your house number, and we also know you got telephone, you got water, and all of these amenities that you now need to have in order to be residing in the Bahamas. That's a big telltale sign of who resides here and who don't resides here. In case they don't know, it means that if you got a bunch of people in the back of the bush, habitating in the back of the bush, and we were accused them of that before, The government was accused of that before. A lot of people have been having in the back of the bush, just relaxing themselves in the back of Glaston Road. We told them about this several times, and here it is. They don't have no address. So if you are not able to go and prove that you have an address where you are a resident at, then anyone can vote in your elections. But people don't get that. So we're going to have an influx of people just voting because the registrar department is saying something. The registry is saying that, look, you don't need to have that. All you got to come in, verify your thing with your card, and just come in. We'll know that we trust you. That's the most dangerous thing. The registry has now said that they are trusting the Bahamian people, and we then know we are corrupt. Let us be real with ourselves. We know we can't even tell a straight. We can't tell a story straight. We are corrupt. That is the most of us. I can tell you that now. So you see, it makes me angry when I think of it because if they're going to now relax the whole matter, where people don't even have to register and come in and say, "This is my card. This is where I live. Blah blah blah. This is my address. This is my telephone number." We have no proof of them. And here it is. The people are saying at the registry, they say, come in anyway. You don't have to have that. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Are we setting up the situation that we can lose an election from people who want to vote in our election and they cannot vote? All of these things is why the media has to be on top of the game. But everybody's want to play this whole thing about catch up, and we can deal with that later. We are not going to deal with that later because if we don't deal with it now, it will be no later. That's what I'm saying. And so, Lincoln, I approach you on those things today because it is one thing that is not affordable by the Bahamian people to make it known and say that, we ain't checking that tough and whatever happens, happens. That cannot be the way we're going to do this election. This is the biggest election we've had in centuries in the Bahamas. Okay? Simply because we got so much at stake. Yet everybody's just acting cavalier. oh, it's a capital thing. Let's see what happens. But when they see what happens, they're gonna be sorry. I can tell you that right now, like Barney Butler
It'll
say.
be too late.
You can be sorry because we are slacking off of what we're supposed to be dealing with, and the world is watching us.
Yeah.
They're watching us. But how can it be that media is doing the things that they're doing? You speak, my friend.
See, first I want to say to the Bahamian public that um, I fully believe in freedom of speech. I believe in the principle of the democracy that they call freedom of speech with all my heart. I am attacked on a daily basis on social media by paid political trolls. I don't ever answer them. I don't put them before the courts. I don't sue them. I don't have them arrested. I believe in freedom of speech. And so I've shown that over the years, and everyone knows they go on social media and people make up lies about me every single day. And that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother us. And sometimes we find it entertaining. We believe that politicians should have thick skin. That is what we believe. We believe that politicians should learn to take criticism.
Absolutely.
If you're going to run for office in America, you can't run until you go on Saturday Night Live and let them make fun of you. You can't run unless you're part of a roast and make fun of yourself or have yourself
You
be
gotta
made
get
fun
with
of.
it. You gotta be about
And so this is a part of it. And so this is a tenet of democracy to where every side should have a say. Our court system is set up that way, where you should have two sides and both should speak. We should never have a court system where one side can speak, but the other side is not allowed to speak. We have a parliament and a senate where that is also the rule. One side, both sides speaks, not one side. And that's how democracy works, in that everyone who has an interest has a say. That's democracy. And so um, that brings us to an article that was by The Guardian today. And most of what I have to say isn't about that article. That article is what you call freedom of speech.
Yes.
I have no problem with that article.
Mm.
They don't put a name to it, which is shameful. They should, if they put an article in the paper,
That's
they
an
should.
editorial, so they
Yes.
can get away with that.
Right.
That's an
Yes, they
editorial.
can get away with that. But I think that they should. They should not be afraid to
Yeah.
speak their and say what their views are. I have been speaking. I've been calling names and everything for decades, and I always put my name to it. But that is freedom of speech. And we are champions of their freedom of speech. We are champions of the freedom of speech of the National Guardian, the Tribune, and any media house. And so I don't want anyone to get this wrong because we say that they are attacking us. It's not because of the article itself. It's because clearly they are focusing on the COI and they're trying to deceive the public as it relates to what our stance is. And so that article is one thing. I'll touch on some things that they talk about in the article because the issue is important, and that is the issue that we found Chinese doing work in the Bahamas. And so what happened was today there was a show on Guardian Radio hosted by Aaron Green and someone else. And the minister called in. I don't know if it was staged or if she just randomly just called in. They don't normally call into shows. You call them and they don't even try to appear, and I haven't seen her appear on the show, this whole time. So just by coincidence, she called in, I guess, and she was defending the whole situation. And they're making it seem, and she was very diplomatic about it. Even when she did her press statement, she was very diplomatic. She didn't attack anybody. She just said what she had to say, but it was vague for a lot of Bahamians. And she called the show, and she again was vague on a lot of things, but she did address some things. And that is democracy. We have no problem with that, and we applaud the fact that she called in and said what she had to say. Here is where the problem come in, and where the law was broken. Right? We have laws, Steve. And so here's where the problem comes in. After she finished the show and saying what she has to say, and there's one thing that she said to deceive the people, but I'll get to that in a minute. After she came off, guess what she did, Steve?
What?
Guess what happened? Sorry, not her. Guess what Erin did? I called the show.
The show host.
Yes, the show host. I called the show, and I started to speak. And she would not let me speak. She kept cutting me off. And at one point, I just said to her, just let me speak. I said it very politely, just let me speak. And she said, basically in essence that she does this to the PLP and FNM, Right? That wasn't exact words, but that's what she was saying. That I do this to the PLP and the FNM. And I said to her, you let the minister speak without interruption. When I said that, they hung up the phone on me. I believe that the whole thing was staged to do cleanup for the government in that situation. That's my belief. And I believe that they didn't expect me to call in. And when I called in, they didn't want the full truth to get out there. Steve, how could it ever be a problem for Bahamians to ask questions? For there to be transparency?
There's no such thing as a dumb question.
How
Ask the
could
question and
that
move
be a
on.
problem? And so now let's go to the situation to which they were speaking, but wouldn't let me speak. Well, before there, by letting the minister speak, but not letting us speak is against the law. IRCA has laws, and
Absolutely.
news shows and current affairs shows must be fair and
Absolutely.
balanced. They must give both sides an opportunity, particularly on controversial issues or matters of importance to the Bahamian people. That's the law. It's actually written in IRCA's
I know
law.
it's the law. I
Yeah.
understand.
So, yeah, I'm just saying it for the public to hear, because many of them think that, oh, the talk shows can say whatever they want to
No,
say.
sir. That's not true.
That's illegal.
Not true.
If you allow one side, this is obviously an important issue and a controversial issue. If you allow the minister to speak, then you should allow the other side to speak.
Of course, that's what
You should not hang up the phone on them or cut them off while they're trying to talk. We are going to use the laws against the lawmakers. We are going to use the laws against government. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to file a complaint to IRCA because of the actions on that show. There is no way that it should be allowed for one side to speak, but you cut off the other side. What a lot of these shows do is they discuss us. Before I called in, they were saying things like implying that we were out there for political mischief and
That's the words.
yeah,
Political
yeah.
mischief.
Basically, we're trying to deceive the people for political gain, etc. Listen, there's no political gain in activism, because for whoever you are helping, you are offending someone else. Activism is not a political stance. It's better to leave things alone and not get in the mix. But we are fighting for the Bahamian people. So we can't see something happening and say nothing when the people call us. Steve, to be clear, every situation you see us go to, we are called. We never go looking for any situations. We don't go just driving around looking to see something happening and then try to make something of it. When the Bahamian people call us, they want us to stand up. They trust us. PLPs and FNMs call us because they trust us. They know that we're going to take a stand when they see something wrong, and they know that their parties are they're going to brush it under the rug. So they call us also. And so
You mean these are generally PLPs and FNMs who would call, right?
I'm talking with staunch PLPs and
I see.
FNMs. Sometimes they have issues and they call on us.
Understood.
There was one time some people in Anagua had issues with the company they was working for, and they called their party. These are hard PLPs. They called their party. They called the chairman of their party, Frederick Mitchell. I call the name. Fred Mitchell told them, if you want results, call Lincoln Bean.
What?
Yeah. He told them, if you want that to get deal with, go call Lincoln Bean.
You
And that's what they did.
Is that right?
That is the truth. That is the truth. All right? And so the Bahamians know that we are the party standing up for us. We're not doing this for political gain. They say that we're xenophobic, et cetera, et cetera. We're not xenophobic. The problem in our country is not xenophobia. Foreigners are living their best life in our country. Bahamians are not xenophobic.
Absolutely, they are.
We have let them come in. We welcome them no matter who they are. We love them. We have lived with them. We are not xenophobic as a people. And I am not xenophobic. But they're trying to push this, this lie out there. The problem with our country is endophobia. Because these leaders and people in position are endophobic, which means a hatred of the locals,
Yes.
a fear of the locals. That is the problem in our
They don't want to
country.
see them get ahead.
They don't want us to get ahead.
That's what it is.
And so these people will fight and fight to make sure that they silence anyone who is fighting for the people. But we are going to continue to take the bullets, and we don't mind being misunderstood. Now, let's go back to the issue at hand. The issue at hand, so just to be clear, we are going to file a IRCA
I
complaint
understand that.
and let them deal with that. Now, here's the problem. The persons at IRCA, they came from Guardian Radio. So we're going to see how they handle it.
But they're all professional.
They are professional. I don't want to imply
I
anything,
can tell you,
but I just
they're-
letting the Bahamian people know what to look for.
I understand. But
Yes.
I just want to say this on behalf of Warren McCartney and Carlton Smith. These gentlemen are professionals.
Yes.
They don't like the kind of things that people have been complaining about, because they've gotten complaints before
Mhm.
on these matters. And so this may come to a head. They may have to step in and say, look, you're going to have to be more personable with these people. You're going to have to entertain everyone. They may have to reset the laws just to make sure that everybody knows. But I can tell you, Carlton Smith and, of course, Warren McCartney, they are both professional men. I can tell you that.
Yes, and I can tell you that too. I have no problem with that. But I'm just letting the people know what to look out for.
Understood.
All right? And so here we go. And so we got calls from Bahamian people that there were Chinese on the park
Yes.
painting. And they were concerned about that.
Mm.
And they have a right to be concerned, because who are you to get a painting job in this country? That's the assumption.
Yeah.
And so we have a right to inquire and question. I started to try to say on Guardian Radio, Steve, every concerned and well-thinking citizen should be more active in what's going on around them.
No question about it. That's the
If-
whole idea.
If you live on a cul-de-sac, for example, and you see some strange men walking around in your community with their backpacks on, etc., you have a right to go there and say, "Hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing? Y'all need some help? You lost? What's going on?" And if they say, "Yeah, man, we looking for Mister to Rule's house," you can say, "Okay, yes, Mister Rule, right there." Okay, but then if they say, "Yeah, we're just looking around," then you have a
That's
right to
suspicious.
question something,
Mhm.
and you have a right to call the police and say, "Listen, some men are through our corner loitering. They seem to be suspicious." That's a duty that we have.
Yeah.
And so some Chinese were there painting. All right, we want to know what they're doing and why. Nope, that's not a political issue. That doesn't benefit us politically.
I saw the whole thing on television.
Yes,
And I could tell. I said, what? And I was like, what is this?
every
Why are
right
you doing
thinking
that?
Bahamian had questions about that.
Yeah.
But they are making it seem like anyone who questions them
Mhm.
is a problem. That's when you're starting to get to a dictatorship.
Yeah.
That you have no right to ask questions in this country. And if you are doing it, it's because you have bad intent. All right? If any Bahamian sees Chinese painting, they have a right to ask questions.
Mm.
Listen, man, I have seen white tourists, American white tourists, on motorbike in Pinewood. I've seen that.
Mhm.
And I stopped them. And I say, "Hey, are you all okay? You all need directions?" And the fella said, "Yes, we do. We don't know how to get back to Bay Street."
My lord.
They were on Pinewood Drive.
My lord.
I saw that.
Mhm.
That's something strange, because normally
Yeah.
they don't live in those areas, and if they're on a motorcycle and look like tourists, come on, it doesn't hurt to ask them. And I asked them, and they said, "How do we get back?" I said, "Okay, you go down to East Street. You're gonna see a police station. That's when you know you're at East Street, and there's a gas station. Just take a right turn and head north until you can't head north anymore, and the ship is right ahead of you."
My lord.
All right, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
I wasn't being mischievous or doing anything wrong. But this government, every time a Bahamian questions them, it's a problem. And that radio host made it seem like that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And said that we should have called the minister privately and asked privately. Why privately? This is a public issue. Why not transparency? Why didn't we hear about this happening before it was exposed? Why not transparency? And so we just went there and asked questions. The whole video was there. We didn't harass them. They're trying to paint it like it was so low that because of what we did, we were asking questions. Do you speak English? Why are you here? All of them said that they don't speak English. That raises more questions. This is a park. The responsibility of maintenance of a park is in the government. They have a ministry for that, Steve.
Ministry
And that
works,
ministry, not Ministry of Works,
sports and not sports.
no, public parks and public beaches, right?
Yeah, roads and parks.
Yeah, no, public parks and public beaches, right?
Mhm.
And so that ministry has a responsibility,
Mhm.
and they have a budget, which is our money. This government has spent up to this time about $130 million so far on our parks. This year's budget is 29 million. All right, just this year. Last year was 24 million, and they went over by 7 million, which is 31 million. So we have the money. We've been spending the money on parks.
Mm.
At least the money has always been allocated. But when you look at the parks always unkept, run down. Think about that.
Yes.
But
You're right.
tens of millions of dollars are put aside every year for the maintenance of these parks. So if you see someone that looks like a foreigner on the park, when our contract should go to Bahamians, because that's where our money should go, you have a right to ask questions. Don't let the government make you think that you are evil or doing something wrong because you asked a question when you saw something that don't line up. And so if you inquire and the person say they don't even speak English, how are you here? That's a good question. And so now we move on to the next step. They got a call and they were told to leave. They didn't want to be seen getting picked up. If they were volunteers doing stuff for Pia's car came there. The car with her wrapping all around it. And another one of her generals in the Pia shirt was there. Why didn't you just pick them up? If they were uncomfortable, if they were afraid, because
how many of them were there?
there were three Chinese men.
Yeah.
Why didn't you pick them up? All right? No, you didn't want to be seen attached to this for some reason. And that brings more questions. You told them to go out and walk. I speak Mandarin a little bit. All right? Not a lot.
Mhm.
All right? Because of my years dealing with China.
Mhm.
And they were told to walk out and they would be picked up out on the road. But when they saw that we were following them out to the road to see what was going on, they were told to keep walking. And then they were told to keep walking. But they needed to be picked up, but they didn't want it to be known who picked them up. Later, 2 police vehicles were sent to pick them up.
Mhm.
So that whole thing is strange. And we have a right to ask questions. This is our money, Steve.
No
This is
question
our
about it.
country. All right? So that's a problem.
Mhm.
And to make it seem like we're being mischievous because we're asking questions, only Bahamians should benefit from contracts. Now, this is the next thing. They said that the men were, well, they didn't say they were volunteers. Her statement says that the money was donated by the Chinese community. All right, that they funded it. All right, they didn't. She didn't say in her statement in writing
Mhm.
that these men were volunteers working for free. All right. She said it was funded by the Chinese community. So that begs another question.
Yes, it does.
If these guys, and to be honest with you, even if you are in another country, you can't even work for free. That doesn't give you a right to even work for free without authorization
Hmm.
in another person's country.
My Lord.
You can't. All right? You can go to that country, but you have, and we've had many persons come here, but they have to come in the right way and inform immigration of what they're doing and get it done. And so I don't want to go delve into that. But in any event, if it was funded, all we're saying is, couldn't you look out for Bahamians and give them the contract?
Why not?
And if it was funded and these men were working for pay, where's their work permit? We have a right to question that. All of these things should be public.
Absolutely.
Where is their work permit? Did this go to the Department of Labor?
It begs for more
What's
questions.
the
I see your point.
problem? What's the problem with people questioning what is going on in their country? That should never be an issue. My
So
lord.
let me ask you this. That means then that the the people who brought them here to do this particular work, they never even produced, even after this event happened, they never even produced that. Well, these are the work permits what these guys had, and so you would ask them the work permits. Here, are the work permits here. This is what it is. That's what it is, and that kind of thing. Did that ever happen at all? Did they ever?
No, the
get
minister
that?
never mentioned their work permits or who they are. She said the Chinese community funded it. Who are these? They don't speak any English. So are they the Chinese community in the Bahamas? How did they get here? What are they doing here? They were clearly hiding their face and running. So we don't
I saw
know.
it. I saw it on
Yeah. So
television.
we don't know what the issue is with that.
Yeah.
But in terms of work permits, why is that a problem for us to ask questions? There's no political gain from that for us.
Not at all.
Any citizen should ask that question. The FNM should have been asking that question too, but they're silent. It doesn't matter if it was donated. But here is the next problem, Steve, and this is the biggest problem.
Mhm.
I have a problem with this because it appears to me that the minister deceived the Bahamian public today on the radio.
This is the Minister Pia Glover.
Pia Glover, yes. Pia Glover made a statement that she talked about people were complaining about the paint, all right, the primer really, but the paint. And she said that they had a concern about the paint being dangerous.
Hazardous, yeah.
Hazardous,
I saw
yeah.
what was published on that.
Yes. And so she is saying that there are two types of paint, of red oxide paint. All right, that's what was being used.
All right.
That's paint that you use on metal.
Mhm.
All right. She said there's two types, and one is leaded, and one is lead free.
Okay.
And so basically, I guess she was implying, because I didn't hear her, but I got cut off at one point,
Mhm.
say that paint was lead free, that she checked it,
I see.
and it was lead free.
Mhm.
All right. But that doesn't help the situation. One, if you're a volunteer, why are you painting over damaged wood? You could clearly see that wood was rotting.
Yeah.
All right. That children has to go on that. We've
No
seen
question.
a death by a
No
swing
question.
recently.
No question. No
If
question.
you're a volunteer, volunteering isn't the issue. If you're going to volunteer, why are you painting over rotten wood? Why are you painting over rusty metal, backboards, etc., etc.? Why the backboard broken down?
I saw the
And you're
backboard
painting
burned
over,
down the
yes,
ground,
it's to
and
the ground,
somebody
and
was
they
still
painted
painting
over it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's volunteer. It's what are you doing?
See, that whole video
And-
went viral. I mean, people saw that and people were shocked by it.
Yes, like 150,000
And
people watched it.
It begs answers by Mrs. Glover or whoever is in charge of it to say that this is what has actually happened and this is the response that we've gotten from it. But to send out people down to the place, maybe she didn't even know about this, but to send out people, I give it the benefit of the doubt, to send people out down on location where the incident happened. I heard the gentleman talk about don't put the camera on me, that kind of stuff. And
He drove up to us and said,
I
"Don't
saw
put the
that.
camera
I saw
on
that.
him." Okay.
You see, when you have that kind of thing happen, you look like you're trying to strong arm somebody, and that is the public perception right there. See, you got to look at all those things, and this is the political season. And even if people are trying to be making mischief, you've got to be very, very careful of that kind of stuff because at the same time, you don't want people to believe that you're strong arming them. And here it is when you send what I would call, in my term of reference, the goon squad out to say, well, this is what's going to happen, and don't point this thing at me, and they're not going to pick up the people and all that kind of stuff. It looks suspicious. It does look suspicious. I might as well tell you that right now. It looks suspicious, and it should have been dealt with better than that. Now, at that same point in time, I want to say this. Mrs. Glover can call this show if she wants to. She knows that. All of them know that. That's an order on the table for everyone in every political party. They can call this show. See, this show is not a free show, but the point is this. They can make a call into this show and say what it is that they have to say because we want to be fair ourselves. And being fair means that you've got to offer sides of different opinions of different sides. And that's what it's all about. But when you have people who don't want to appear on the show and they don't want to be involved, you cannot blame the show host.
They don't want to answer.
They don't want to answer. They don't want to do those things. Don't blame me as the host. I'm here to offer for anyone to be on the show whenever they believe that there's a controversial item that they must deal with. Please deal with it because this is your chance now. We're live on radio and you can just say what you have to say. That's what it's all about.
So
We want to build this country, Lincoln B, and I'm sure that you want to do the same thing. Build this country and make sure that people are well secured and where they're going to go in the future of this country.
So, Steve, my biggest concern right now is the
Mm.
safety of our children. And that's
Yes.
why I said that I believe that she deceived the public
Mm.
by that red herring about lead or unleaded.
Yes.
The lead is not the biggest problem with that paint. It has other toxic
Other toxic
chemicals.
Yeah.
And the
Understood.
fact that a minister of this country
Mm.
would state on public radio, which she said,
Mhm.
that deceives the people, in my opinion. Because it's not just about the lead. Yes, there's leaded and unleaded red oxide paint.
Mhm.
But even the ones without lead, there is an issue, all right? Because of the other toxic chemicals. I'm going to read this to the public because your children should not go on any park right now that has this paint. We even put it in ChatGPT, of course, the actual paint, and that was being used because the fellow was holding the paint. We took a picture of it and we got the documentation on that. But we put the paint in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT warned that this paint should not be used on playgrounds, at schools, or anywhere
That's the question that needs to be answered.
where humans are going to touch. And so I want to answer this now because our children could be in danger. All right. And they could say we're doing this for politics all they want. If we save one child, that's good. I don't want to see children dropping down and we don't know why they dropped down. In fact, the first 3 days of this year,
Yes,
we had
three
children
three deaths.
in strange deaths.
Yeah.
All right? And we don't know why. This should not happen because guess what? It could be our child next.
No question.
While they were there painting, there were children on the park. You could see them on my video. There were children on the park while they were there painting with this chemical that we believe is a dangerous chemical. And so they can't brush this aside or deceive the people by saying, oh, there's two types of this paint, and one is leaded and one
Just to
unleaded.
be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
And so
again,
let's
real.
let's go to this, Steve. This is I'm sharing for people who can actually see us online. We're on YouTube and on Facebook.
Mhm.
This documentation right here is the fact sheet
Yes.
on that paint. You can see the Lanco paint, and it says painted red red oxide.
Mhm.
All right, and so it gives the specs on the paint. All right, that we believe that was in the picture. And so the issue with that paint is that it's dangerous. It literally says that this should not be used in any place where there's human contact.
Okay.
All right. Not
Mhm.
only that, this paint is regulated like a dangerous product in the United States of America. All right. And they have gone away from using this. And there's high levels of VOC in this paint, which is a problem. But I'm going to read you some of the chemicals in this paint that is very concerning. I'm scrolling down to it now. I'm going to read you the chemicals in this paint and why you should not let uh, your children go. They say reportable ingredients. They said that according to law, let me pull up the law in the United States so you can see for yourself. We like to educate the public. We don't just tell them, just believe us because we have this position or that position or we the MP.
Mhm.
It names the chemicals in there. Here are some of the chemicals. Calcium carbonate. It's fine.
Mhm.
So our limestone makes paint, just a side
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Right?
Understood.
And our aragonite. Studded solvent, and there's an asterisk by it because it's dangerous. It says another type of studded solvent. It also says cobalt 2 ethyl hexanoate, right?
Mhm.
It's also dangerous. And the three that I'm naming, that I just named, it says toxic chemical. Notice I didn't say lead.
Right.
Toxic chemical subject to the reporting requirements of section 3 1.3 of title 3 of 40 CFR 272. So what does that mean? That means that if you are going to use these toxic paint, you have to report to in the United States uh, to the environmental authorities
Yes.
that you're using it, where you're using it, and how you're using it.
Understood.
All right. There is a major fine. All right. You can be arrested if you use this paint, I believe, without proper or without reporting requirements. Fines of tens of thousands of dollars per day. That you don't resolve that issue. Meaning you leave that paint there, every day that paint is there, you get fined. All right. Everyone can go and research for themselves. So those are the three chemicals. But so I actually did a search on this because I wanted to know a little bit more. So I actually put it in ChatGPT to make it easier. I put a picture of the paint up that we did, so people watching online can see it now. I put a picture of the paint that he was holding in his hand, and I asked ChatGPT about it. I said, I want to know if this specific paint in the picture is playground safe. And ChatGPT answered. It says, based on the exact product in your photo and its data sheet, so ChatGPT did research, here is the clear final answer. Is the specific paint playground safe? No. This exact paint is not safe for use on a children's playground. This is Lanco Painters Red Oxide Primer VA971. And the determination is based directly on its official safety data sheet, SDS. It says why the specific product is not playground safe. And I can assure you, the minister didn't go after this and look at the paint because we went back there and the paint is still in the bathroom in the cubicle. All right. So unless she can tell us that they inspected this paint beforehand and she knows that it's safe, then we got a problem. All right. It's still there today. The paint is there.
Right now.
Yes. The bar is locked because the Chinese had the key. The bar is locked, but the door is open. And so if you push the door open, right now, the paint is there. I have a picture of it. It's still there. All right. So let's continue because I want to inform the public. This is on several of our parks. And so we need to know. This is not gaslighting. We just need, let's err on the side of
I hear what
caution.
you're saying, and you're right to say it.
So here's what they say. Why this specific product is not playground safe. One, it is an industrial solvent-based primer. The SDS classifies it as flammable liquid. They gave the numbers behind it. Hazard class 3. Requires respirators, chemical gloves,
What?
eye protection. You didn't notice that all of them had on gloves.
I saw that.
They had on gloves, etc.
Yes.
All right. I said, you just painted. I painted before. I didn't have to put on gloves, but they know that this is they probably know that this is toxic paint because all of them are wearing gloves.
You're right about that.
All right. And if you look at the picture with the paint, where he's holding the paint, to handle that can, he is wearing gloves.
Yes.
All right. And the one who was painting the thing up, he was wearing gloves.
So they not get on them.
Exactly.
But they put it there for the children to be playing on.
Exactly. So requires respirators, chemical gloves, eye protection. All right. And one of them had, eye protection on. Warns against skin contact, inhalation, or ingestion. So you should not touch it, inhale it, or ingest it. And that includes touching it and then putting your hand in your mouth. All right. A coating that requires this level of PPE is not suitable for child contact surfaces. This is what ChatGPT is saying. 2, contains toxic petroleum solvents. The SDS lists Stodard solvent, which I read to you, aliphatic, and solvent naphtha. These chemicals are harmful if inhaled, dangerous if swallowed, aspiration hazard, unsafe for skin contact. Children on playgrounds touch, scrape, lick fingers, and mouth and mouth objects.
I dread it.
This product is not formulated for that risk. 3. Contains cobalt compounds. The paint contains cobalt. 2, that long word that I had a problem pronouncing it, ethyl hexanoate, which is a toxic metal compound.
Okay, that's toxic.
Do you know what toxic means?
Toxic.
It's a toxic metal compound listed as a SARA Section 313 reportable chemical. You have to report if you're going to manufacture it or use it.
Yes.
Even the end user, if you buy it, you have to report it. Cobalt compounds are not allowed in playgrounds or toy-safe coatings. Number 4, very high VOC content. All right? Material VOC equals 276, I guess, G/L. I don't know exactly what that means. And coating is even higher. These levels are far above what is acceptable for schools, playgrounds, childcare facilities. 5, no child safety or playground certifications. The SDS does not state compliance with ASTM, whatever, children's products. N71, toy play safe. These are the laws when you could use these material paint on. It has to have these certifications. And it lists all of the certifications, playground or school use approval. If it does not explicitly state child playground safety, it is legally and medically considered unsafe for that use. We're talking about the law in America. If it doesn't specifically say on the can, this particular one,
Yes, understood.
that it is playground, etc., safe and child safe, legally, it is unsafe according to their law. Important clarification. Even if this paint were lead-free, all right, this is what it says right here.
Even if
this paint were lead-free, it would still be unsafe due to solvent chemistry, toxic metal dryers, and high VOCs. Industrial hazard classification. It's classified as an industrial hazard. What is this minister doing? Continue. It says lead is not the only issue. Bottom line, no ambiguity. This paint should not be used on playground equipment, not during application, not after curing, not on surfaces children touch. Using it in a public or school playground could create serious health or legal liability. They don't know we in slack country.
Okay, let's look at this whole matter. Firstly, we know that they were here painting. That may have been the start of it. You probably caught them at the beginning of it, and maybe they had more people to come to paint other parks. Maybe this was a test run.
They had already painted other parks. This was the last.
This is the last park.
Yeah.
But
so this paint is already on 2 other parks.
2 other parks.
I'm talking about in the Golden Gates area. I heard they were working in other areas too.
Mm-hmm.
See, you can't just take the free lunch because you don't know what they put in that food.
Yeah.
You can't just say because it's volunteer and they paid for it means we should just be slack and accept it.
Yeah, no, we can't
Dwayne Sands made the same mistake when he accepted some swabs from someone who wanted to land in the Bahamas. He said they were bringing swabs, so he just took it from them. You can't just take swabs, a medical thing that's going into your nose. You as the government can't just take it from someone who just happens to have a plane and wants to land. That's out of order. So in the same light, this slackness, they just let these people come paint, and the paint in the manhand
we might pay for it
is a toxic paint with high volatile organic compound as VOC levels.
Well, my friend, I think what's going to happen here is that we're going to pay now or we're going to pay later for this whole thing because it should not have happened. There should have been more checks and balances. These people should not have come here to just do this kind of thing. And I don't believe that the government of the Bahamas, any government would do such a thing and be so inconsiderate. Now, this thing happened. We know it happened. We saw it. We saw it. We saw it, the whole thing on television. But at the same time, I want to say this. If, in fact, they did this thing, I pledge, and I say this right now live on radio today, they must cut it out right now and send those people back to where they came from. If they are foreigners, tell them you have changed your mind and go inside there with the people who are in charge of this particular country and clean those parks up. Clean them up.
Remove those
Remove
swings.
all those swings and everything else, because we just had 3 children just died over the holiday. We don't know what they died from, and the people have not told us anything because of the lack of Freedom of Information Act. I'm saying this. Please hear me clearly. Mrs. Glover, please go and deal with this whole matter and think of it from a point of view that this could be your child or your nephew or your niece. Listen to this now. Please go and deal with this matter and go and get this thing fixed. Talk to Mr. Brave Davis. Get it fixed, because nobody wants to see a child suffer because of this toxic paint that these people have put down on the ground. Now, the research has been done. We have records of the research. I can tell you this. If you hear me tell you something right now, we know what we're talking about. The research has been done. We then know that this is not a good thing to happen for us. Unsuspecting. Our children are unsuspecting. Parents are. Parents, you should not be letting your children go anywhere close to those parks, because we don't know what these people have done. And we then know that we are in a bind right now with China, the Haitian people, this people, the next people, and we can't take any chances, because you know and I know they've been trying to kill us all off from COVID. So catch yourself. Understand English. If you don't understand any English, understand this. Pia Glover and them must eradicate this matter today. Stop it. Clean those parks up. Get the people to remove all those swings and stuff what these people have been painting, and put the right thing in place. You got the money for it. You got the budget. And if you got to just take a time off from it, take the time off and let the parks stay right where they are, because no one is going to go to those parks anyway.
Steve, people make mistakes, all right? Even the government can make mistakes. I think on this one, there's a serious mistake. We're not saying this to condemn them.
I know.
We're saying this because this is a serious safety issue. There have been instances where Chinese products had to be banned in America because of leads. They're toys. Toys were banned because of lead. Persons received fines and were arrested for this. In China, persons, I'm told that they were jailed because they were sending out these products with lead, etc. I heard that someone got executed. I can't confirm that. And that's when I used to frequent China a lot. There were even toothpaste, and someone here in the Bahamas got in trouble for importing that toothpaste. There was toothpaste that had the same chemical that is in chlorine. It was in the toothpaste, and it was dangerous. And so that's when they had this company, back in the day, called Price Busters.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
I
they
know.
had to take that off the shelf. And so this is what is known to happen. All right. So we can't be just slack and the Chinese say, "Hey, I want to paint the parks." Steve, it
No.
don't cost that much money to paint a park,
Yeah.
man. You can't be in that much desperation as a government that you need these people to come
Paint the park.
and just buy some
Well,
paint
that
and
may
put it
have
on the
been
park.
that, and from the political viewpoint on that matter, this is how I see it. I see it as them trying to encourage the relationship between the Bahamas and China and any other country that they want to have some goodness, some good little things to happen for the people, that kind of stuff.
Now,
But
this is where
this is
there's
not. You have to be checking those things.
Yes.
You cannot just be.
this is where there's the question, the biggest question that we should have. Maintenance contracts were given out, and I heard the minister say that today on the radio.
Yes.
Every park,
Mhm.
it has been issued. So if the money has been issued to take care of these parks, then if the Chinese do it, do we get that money back? Who gets
No,
that
we
money?
don't. The same
That means
person got
whoever has the
contract.
contract, and we believe that one of the persons who showed up out there,
Mhm.
we were told that you can't confirm, but we were told that he has the contract for those parks. And so if the Chinese do the work, that means he got free money. That's where the problem comes in. Who get that free money? And so that's $29 million for our parks. Why we need them to come paint?
No,
Think about that.
I think what has to happen is that just what I said. It may sound cruel and all that, but you see, we are concerned with the welfare of this country. We're concerned about the children of this country. I certainly am. I'm very, very serious about that. Simply because I have grandchildren and the rest of it, and I would not want to see any harm come to them. And these frequent gifts. Beware of those who come bearing gifts. I mean, I can remember Dr. Donaldson telling me that all the time.
Yeah.
Beware, he says, of those come bearing gifts. See, that's a gift. If they come with bearing gifts, you got to be careful with that. Check it out. Check it out. Check, see what this thing is all about.
I was watching, I think one time it was a Discovery Channel, one of those documentary channels.
Mhm.
And there was this documentary about this coconut water company and how they started up. It was about startups, all right? So they was talking about how they started up business. It was an entrepreneurial show. But while he was talking about where they came from, he said they started with this coconut water product and they were in South America and they were getting the coconuts and they were making their coconut water. And they were going to bring it to America and sell it. But after making all this coconut water and packaging it, they realized that you can't just come to America. This thing has to be improved. Your factory has to be inspected by them,
That's right.
and you can't just import that.
Yeah.
And so they were like, "Oh, we made all this. We're going to lose a lot of money. We're going to go bankrupt."
So they bring it
And
this way.
someone told them, "Just go to the Bahamas. They lax with everything. They don't have any rules. So just take it to the Bahamas and sell it there." They came to the Bahamas without any business license. They were foreigners. It was just some white Americans. They came, no business license, no nothing. They had no checks or balance. They just brought in their product and they sold it in the Bahamas. I've watched that on a documentary. And that shows you how slack we are. And it's time to get this country right. Because a lot of people are dying of things that we don't know why they're dying. We're bringing for import only food and all of this nonsense is happening.
Yes.
And that's where the problem is. So I know we spend a lot of time on this, but that's because I'm concerned about the safety. What I'm also concerned about is not one media house did an investigation.
That's what I'm saying.
Not one.
Mhm.
So the Guardian felt that they should do an editorial about the COI. All right?
But nothing.
But
on this
nothing
whole
about the
thing.
seriousness of this or
Yes.
any inquiry about this. So we don't mind them talking about us. They do that every day.
Mhm.
So I don't want you to think that we are petty politicians like these other ones and say, don't talk about us. No, you can say whatever you want to say about us. All right? If people believe it, they believe it. If they don't, they don't. All right? But how could you take the time to write an editorial
That was
about
a
this
long- That was
situation?
a long editorial
Yes.
this morning.
Yes. How could you take the time for that and not take the time to check out the real complaint? Why are
That
you?
was a bashing editorial, really. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's a
Because
political
A
editorial.
lot of people don't agree with what they're saying. I mean,
Yeah.
they seem to say that the COI has been losing ground, and that's nonsense.
I don't agree. I think we've been gaining
Of
ground.
course, I think so.
They're trying to base something, and I want to make this clear. They're trying to base something on by-elections. All right, by-elections mean nothing as it relates to the general election, and history has shown us that the government always almost wins the by-election. We've had 11 by-elections,
Mhm.
and 2 of them were not won by the government. All right, one was in Elizabeth. I guess that's just a PLP area.
Right.
All right, and one was in Marco City. All right, and at the time, the F&M won that. But you couldn't beat the F&M in Freeport because there was a war between Pinlin and the port, and the port was looking out for their people. And so yes, they won. But every other by-election is won by the government. That is normal. People are not going to vote against a government, a sitting government. They don't normally do that.
No.
All right. So let me give you an example of that.
Too much to lose.
Let me give you an example of that. And that editorial, they should have been doing this research that I'm doing right now from the top of my head. All right. So Sir Lyndon Pinlin, when he stepped down in South Andres, did you ever think that the PLP could lose South Andres? But when Sir Lyndon Pinlin stepped down, the F&M won in a landslide because people just don't vote against the government.
That's what it was.
All right. The F&M won in a landslide, but guess what? The next election, 2002, the F&M lost in a landslide. So the by-election didn't, even though the F&M won it, because people don't vote against the government, that didn't mean that that they were going to win the next election. They lost in a landslide. The same thing happened when Ingram stepped down. When Ingram stepped down in Abaco, who would ever think that the PLP could win North Abaco at the time? Ingram stepped down. He was strong. He did a lot of things down there. How could they lose? But guess what? The people don't want to vote against the government, so they voted for the PLP. All right, and that's what happened. And so, but guess what happened? In the next election, the PLP lost. Think about it. And so the by-election says nothing about the general election. So that's not here or there. All right. And for those, people, talking about that, the FNM has lost 3 elections, by the way. All right. The only election we participated in was the 2021 election. We were not a party yet. It's only general election, but we were not a party. We were just independent people working together. Now we're a party, and this general election is going to show whether the people want change or not. And that's our stance, and we believe that. All right. And I gave you history to line up with what I said, and actual facts, not feelings. All right. And so, yes, people didn't come out to vote. We know why. People aren't going to put the X against whatever.
Understand. You
And so,
understand it.
and so that's where we are. I want to segue into what you were talking about with the situation with the voting.
Yeah.
That's a very serious situation.
It is.
A very serious situation. Steve, they changed the rules to make it now easier for these people to register. All right. A voter's card is a legitimate legal ID.
Absolutely.
In America, your driver's license has your address on it, right? So that makes it a perfect ID. Here, our driver's license doesn't have our address, but a voter's card does. And so you can use the voter's card as proof of address.
That's right.
Think about that.
Absolutely.
You can use the voter's card as proof of address legally. But now that's because you had to verify when you were changing address. All right. So, but the problem is, how can you use it now as proof of address? Because they just changed the rule.
That's right.
So I actually went yesterday with someone who was actually going there to do just that, to change their address, and they did so. And all they had to do was say, "I live here." All right, if they couldn't, just point to it on the computer, etc. And that's all they had to do. But a Bahamian woman made a big scene. All right, it's the daughter of a former PLP candidate and official, so I won't call her name. All right, but she is a Bahamian first, even though she's a PLP. She's a Bahamian first, and in front of her was a man of Haitian descent.
Yeah.
All right. And this gentleman just got his passport, new passport. You smell
Brand
the
new
newness. You
passport.
smell, you could listen,
He can
smell like
speak
new
English?
car, like new leather.
He can speak English.
He could barely speak English. barely. And that's what upset her. Because first she brought it to my attention.
Is
She's
that
like,
right?
this man can't speak English and he is here registering for the first time. And he couldn't even say where he lives. He couldn't say where he lives. And so the lady was who was dealing with him said, well, you have to at least show me where you live or say where you live. And he couldn't. Either one. And so he called someone on the phone. And the person, I guess is his daughter, said, just tell him you live Paul Boulevard. Because he had said he lived in the area of Calvary Baptist Church, right? Which is on East Street. And they said Paul Boulevard. So he said Paul Boulevard. So they was like, okay, he pointed to us, show us where it is. We couldn't find that. So the person on the phone said, just tell him you live, she said a name of another street that's in Pinewood, right? Said, just tell him you live here. And I'm like, you can't just make this up as you go.
Well, you're going to find that many others are going to make this up as they go because the fellas have thrown this thing into their hands. They're saying, just, you don't have to bring no, just say this and you're straight.
So we said another street like Jacaranda Street or whatever. So I said, no. I said, hold on. That's Pinewood. And you were saying that you are in in by Calvary Baptist, and so that was a problem for me. So the lady was very angry. All right, this is a Bahamian lady, and she said, no, there's no way that this could be allowed to happen. So the lady registering him said, there's nothing we can do. They made the rule that once they could identify somehow, then we have to register them once they have the passport.
What kind of rule
And
is
I
that?
so I told the Bahamian lady, I said, you can object to this, you can protest it. She's like, I can? Okay, I want to protest. And she told the lady registering him, she wants to protest. The lady was like, yes, you can protest. That's the law. If you are a Bahamian and you see someone registering who can't speak English, etc., etc., if you are there,
go and protest it right there. And I said
right
that.
there and then, you can protest them right while they're registering. And so the lady went and called the main office on Harold Road. That's where they're located now, the Parliamentary Register office. And they told her to send the man to the headquarters to register.
I know.
They did not do the law, which is to file the protest and to block this person from registering until it was investigated. Because they're supposed to investigate. That's the law, right? Instead, they tell him, bring him down to the headquarters, because they know the person wouldn't be there. So he probably went to the headquarters and got registered.
And he's straight.
And so they looked out for him.
My Lord.
All right? And so that's a problem. And it's happening right before our eyes.
And we are wide awake. But no one is doing anything about it.
And so one of the persons who worked there, I want to identify them, said that 95% of the persons coming to register are foreigners. Are foreigners who just got their passport, new passports. We could take it serious, or we could just let it happen. The choice is yours. It's your country. If you don't want to fight for it, you don't deserve to have it. It's Finland. And that's where we are.
Hard copy, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Let me say Happy New Year to PMLD, and I love his patriotic blood that is flowing through his veins for the Bahamas and the Bahamian people. 2 or 3 things I want to touch upon. I'm going to be very, very brief with the 3: xenophobia, the Oklahoma bombing, and the September 11th. I keep telling people, we in the Bahamas, we are in a severe coma with this immigration thing. When you look at it, xenophobic, right? There was a village in Germany where the African men and women were coming into Germany to marry the Germans. The German government made them aware that they were aware of the Africans coming into this village, and they were getting married and whatever have you. The second point I want to say about the September 11th bombing that happened in New York City. Do you know there's a Bahamian lady who aunt lived in Fort Lauderdale, and when she saw the picture of those men who bombed the Twin Towers in New York, the women passed out. They were living right next door to her. And she saw that they had to call an ambulance because she couldn't believe that these suicide bombers were living right next door.
My Lord.
With the Oklahoma bombing of the Alfred Murray building. There were people who said these guys came into town. The Timothy McVeigh, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Said they looked, and people said they were suspicious because these guys looked as if they were lost and they didn't know where they were going. And there were people who were not too far from where the bombing happened in Oklahoma, said that they remember the guys looked like they just came into town and they wanted directions as to what this building. I keep telling people, we in the Bahamas, we are toying with a situation. I come into the Bahamas, you don't know anything with me. Somebody tell me go where to the boat. I go there, I can't speak English, don't know anything. You don't know who I am, where I come from, what I know about.
Serious
you
stuff.
registering me and giving me documents. This thing is going to end up on a sour note because we don't know what we are doing. It's not just a human being. You don't know nothing about these people. And as for the Chinese, everywhere the Chinese have gone, they have left a legacy that Chinese only love Chinese, and Chinese is nobody else. They went down in Africa, and the only thing they left in the sea was the salt water. Why are we doing these things? We are losing our mind. I keep telling people we are on a different planet. And thank God for PMLB, the patience and whatnot, because we are completely out of it. We need to catch ourselves.
I
And it
appreciate
looks like it's a pen on a sour note for us to do it. This is it.
I
And if
appreciate
we
the
don't
call.
be careful, 2026, we better realize we have to do what we have to do to serve this country, because we will lose it. The people who we don't know nothing about. And that is all I have to say.
Yeah, well,
Bye.
you know, the trouble is we have to do something about it, but what are we doing about it? We're sitting down and we are not doing anything about it, and that is a big problem for us because at the end of the day, if we don't say anything, like for instance, this gentleman by the name of Harrison Thompson, you should be inundating him. The press should be inundating him. What do you mean by this thing that they don't have to show any proof of where they live? What is this all about? That's a big catch in the whole matter. Because if they come from the back of the bush and they could be anybody from anywhere, you ain't got no address for them. And here it is, they are able to be able to register to vote in your elections in the next couple of months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. I don't know why we haven't dealt with that matter yet. Good afternoon, caller. How are you? Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, listen, I'm going to hang up from you. You're going to call me back. Good afternoon. Okay. That person is listening to the radio. She's not taking the call. So call me back if you can. But I was making that point about what's been happening here in our Bahamas. And, you know, one of the craziest things that I've heard so far, it comes from a young lady who, in fact, is dealing with this whole matter now. And I'm going to play the soundbite for you so you can understand it. Okay? Hard copy, how are you?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I want to encourage everybody to look up this show. The show is called like Almost Gone Away Today. It's a reality show for fugitives with escape from prisons around the world. There are a few episodes on this show where persons like was missing for years and they got sighted in the Bahamas. When they got sighted in the Bahamas, some of them were living on depot, some of them bought land and all these stuff in this country. I'm trying to figure out why I watch this show, the whole show. I just get the episodes with these people caught in the Bahamas for a long time, and every episode that I see with this country was fugitive from around the world. Hello? Caught here.
Please hold.
They made it known how these people had documentation in this country whilst they were on the run.
Yes, I understand. And that's been happening for quite a number of years because on as police spokesman, something along those nature things happened as well. And they even had a fella who came and he lost his life, and they said that his ashes were was so incredible that they couldn't save him and that kind of thing. And when we checked it again some years later, this fellow was alive and well and all kinds of stuff. And they used somebody else to well, you know, a lot of things are happening in our country because we are slack on many fronts, okay? And I hear what you're saying. You're going to call me again. Put me onto that show so we can talk about it, okay? I appreciate the call. When we check, all kinds of stuff happens in this town. All right. Hard copy, how are you?
Yes, sir. Good night. On the show.
Yes, sir. I'm listening to you. You're live with Steve and Lincoln Bain.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Mr. Bain, you hit on a number of things in reference to Pia Glover and the situation at the park. But one thing that was overlooked that wasn't mentioned was the fact that the police showed up with fire blazing, blocking off the road. And I would like to know what station they came from and who gave them instructions to come there and to block up the road to stop traffic to look for Chinese. Where they got instructions from. So
That's a special unit. They're not from a particular station. That's a
preachers of
All right. He's going to answer you, okay? Just
Thank
listen.
you very much,
He's
sir.
going to answer you, sir. Okay.
Yeah, that's a special unit. Like the flying squad or one of them. I don't know the name of this unit. But that's a special unit that is under the leaders, and that's what that unit is. All right. They normally do the bidding of whoever's in charge. All right. So that's a special
Oh.
unit. They're not from a specific station.
Hard copy, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Steve?
All is well, sir.
Everything blessed. This is Lanto, man. Hey, what's going on, Lincoln?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Everything blessed, man. Hey, Steve, what's going on this side?
What's going on? Everything is going on. Everything is going on.
Like, how obvious it could be, like, you literally sitting down and calling me dumb as a baby. You can change a rule to identify a person, like if I come to the vote, right? What it is that I have to show, because you know, anything you do over here in America, you have to show some proof of establishment.
Yeah, but we're not doing that here.
Right.
We're not doing that here.
People call us corrupt, we want to take attitude with people. Or the people that be like, oh, you gotta defend, no, we are what we are.
Well, let me say this at the outset, right? Let me say this at the outset. First and foremost, I think Mr. Thompson, who is in charge of the Department of Registration, he is taking instructions from the bigger boys who give him these instructions to do. But listen here. Listen here. He's taken instructions from the politicians who told him that he had to do the biometrics. They, in fact, did the biometrics because they wanted to know exactly how they can do what they want to do as far as this election process is concerned. Now, he did that. That didn't work out. See, people don't know this. That did not work out. They had a test on that biometrics because when they did the thing over in Golden Isles, it did not work out the way it's supposed to have worked out. So they've changed the rules now. Listen to me now. They've changed the rules that they had this verification thing that they wanted you to come and verify that you, in fact, did all these other things that prior to the election. And now they came back in December. At the end of December, they were telling the Bahamian people that you needed to go and verify. I brought that story up. No one else brought it up, but I brought that story up to make sure that people understood what was happening. And as a result of it, people now understand that not only are you going to now verify to them, you also now don't have to even bring any documentation, your establishment, you say, to now make sure that you live here, this way you reside, this the kind of thing you're paying your bills at the BEC, the Patelco, and all them things. You don't have to do that no more. They're saying, forget about that. Just come in and we will process you. Now, how does that look to you? Does that look like you're trying to efficiently deal with this whole problem that we have with this migration problem in the Bahamas? Does it look like that to you? It doesn't look like that to me. It looks as if they're saying, come on, everybody come one time, let's do this thing. That's what it looks like to me.
Now, here's what I'm saying. You have a young man in front of you right now, right? Who never been in the game. Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he's spilling truth. But they want it to look like a lie. How you expect us who know what you're doing being right, and you want us to say honorable and coming to this place with integrity and things like that? What you saying to the man who's in front of you? I try to twist it. What you saying to a man who's trying to come into the right thing? Know what you're doing is wrong. He's still in that, but you pushing a narrative onto your people to try to knock what this man saying down. You understand?
Yes.
To flip the whole thing. I'm saying this man, who I don't know, he looked like he deep down in the 60s and 70s. You trying to tell me he has no integrity? You trying to tell me now?
Who are you talking about? Who look like they're deep down in the 60s and 70s? Who are you talking about? You ain't talking about Thompson.
You know the guy who
Man, Thompson got to be close to 79, 80. What you talking about?
Wow.
Okay, see, but thanks for coming. But what I'm saying is now, you trying to tell me now he can't sign to a mic, say, hey.
Yes, he can, but he's under instructions.
Because he's a fellow, he ain't no man. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me call y'all, let me say y'all and dog this and that and this and that. People say, oh, no, have respect. I have no respect for nobody. We're trying to annex me. And here's the thing, what I say. Darkness love evilly. You were trying to tell me now, what was wrong with the system? When you walk in there, you have to show an ID where you lived. Any Bahamians, right? Thinking Bahamians complain about that. So what you change it for? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Please hold. Please hold. Please hold.
You change it for? What was the reason for the change of that for?
They try. I tell you. I just gave you the hint. You know. They came back. They came back and said, "We now need you to verify." That's what the word they use. Verification means that you have to go and now prove that you are this thing which you then registered for already with the registration department. So why would you do that? Why do you have to do that?
That's what I'm saying. The two sides trying to squeeze our lungs. Because guess what? Okay, you have a guy named, what it is you could say about Lincoln did. What rule he made, what policy he pushed in the House. Name something he did when he was in Parliament. Oh, I forgot. He was never there. But when he stand by, he read off the truth. He got you with your rights, this and this and that. The good guy. Y'all trying to say, well, he this and that and this and that. Y'all say he cuss too much. But the other, on the media with the woman, when he exposed to Pete, who's doing more cussing than that? You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Not cussing, but they saying he cares or whatever the case may be. I always say, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all of them things like that, they usually they sit down and they have to do what they have to do, including Finland. But I'm like, why are you trying so hard? Put it up in it online, and you good with investigators. Name one company, one airline right now today, which you see in Ireland, the K-Patient, that you could go try, just run it. Go online and see if you could book a flight from here to here. Everything book right out. What these people do is substantial inside our country. And now you making it there, you scripting away. Libertarians would even put a little glitch in the system for them to even vote. You script that away for somebody to walk from the back of the bush. They tell you they live in the front of the bush.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Our passport. They come to believe me with their children, and they're talking about days apart of the bomb. No. See, I'm saying, that's why I talk to you, Steve. You see what I said? It matters, boy. It matters. These old heads, I calling it what it is. Straight down from Philip, he's sitting on, they ask him what is the greatest significant thing.
They're creating a new Bahamas. That's what they're doing.
Okay, let's just say you create the new Bahamas under somebody else's country, right? You'll be dead and buried. How long you think you have on this age? What you think will be left of the people who you leave behind?
Good question. I've got to run. Good question.
Okay, that's the last thing I say this to Lincoln. Lincoln, I always say this to you, boy, because you make me realize something that I can tell it and be real with you. You notice they always would say the lie they try to turn into the truth. And the truth, they always try to repeat it as a lie. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
The greatest one thing against a man is his faith and the way he walks with integrity. The two things you get, so expect whatever coming your way. Expect whatever coming your way and do what you got to do, man. You got people behind you. I hear you on that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. You know.
I want to say this, Steve, and I have to keep. We have another call.
I have to take this call.
Okay.
Hard copy. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for giving me a chance to speak on the show. I have nothing against you, Mr. B, and I don't know exactly what your mantra is, but I'm listening to it and I'm realizing that there's something going on in this particular program that is a little bit misleading. So for the people that are listening, that are absorbing incorrect information, here's the truth.
Okay. Hold on, ma'am.
Can you turn it louder?
Hold on, ma'am. You say, here's the truth. Now, the truth by whom? Who's this speaking?
Okay, so let me better state it. In my opinion.
Yeah, no. I just need you to say, here's the truth by you.
No,
I mean,
you're not going to put words in my mouth. I'm going to give you the guidance that I understand.
This is my show, woman. This is my show.
Fair, but I'm also not going to be spoken
Let
to.
it go.
No. She got a nerve. Here it is. She wants to talk about what is being spoken here. Say your name.
Mhm.
You want to talk to me? Say your name. Be woman enough to say your name. I don't care who she is.
Mm.
That's the point. Now, you're about to say.
Yeah, so I was about to say the importance on this immigration situation that Bahamians are not taking seriously. My brother Steve and to all of my Bahamian brothers and sisters, because our government is being slack with immigration, it's going to hurt the people. It won't hurt them. They have diplomatic passports. It's going to hurt our people because remember we used to have indefinite visas. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And now the indefinite visas um, were taken away. And that's because we started letting all these other people come into our country, and clearly they know about some of the
Exactly.
corruption that is going on with our passports, etc. And so there's a problem. And so we we see that it's becoming tougher and tougher for Bahamians to get visas right now. Fred Mitchell just spoke to it. Why do you think that's happening? Fred Mitchell and them are the reason that I feel that this is happening because they are letting all these people come in, get our passports. All kind of strange people are showing up with Bahamian passports because our
Absolutely.
passports are very valuable.
Mhm.
And so now America has to shut it down. America has to say that I have to be more strict with what's going on. They have to look out for their country. And I want Bahamians to know that you may think that this is a simple situation,
So,
but you are going to be affected by this because of association. You see, if it was happening properly, we wouldn't have a problem. But when we had last Trump administration, we had Dorian, and Trump said, "I love Bahamians; they're good people." But they're letting some people from down south come in their country who we don't want in our country. There's gangsters and stuff from gang to down south. He
that's
said
what he
it
said. He said it.
from down south that we don't want in our country, and they're just getting in. And so, they have their investigative skills, so they know a lot that we don't know, that our media isn't going to put out there because our media is going to be busy just doing the bidding of the politicians. And he stopped Bahamians from just coming in without paperwork. You had to have a visa and everything proper to come in. But to just say come in as refugees because of the situation, he said no. And that no wasn't because of us. It was because of the people we let in come in our country. The gangsters from Haiti are here. They're in the Bahamas right now
We
on
know
our
that.
streets.
We talked about it over and over and over.
They
But
are
nobody
here.
listened to it.
And Bahamians, we have to tighten our ship. And I don't want you to believe for 1 second that the FNM is going to do any differently on immigration. Don't fool yourself. They are part of the problem. You can answer the call.
Good afternoon, caller. How are you? Very good. Thank you. How are you? Your point, sir?
He's one of he seems to be one of the best investigators there in the Bahamas. I mean, Lincoln is doing every. I don't see the police. I know that supposed to be involved in these situations. I'm doing what Lincoln is doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hats off to Lincoln. No matter what people say, people gonna say what they're gonna say. That's a stupid part. But those that know what is right and see what's going on, they just pray what Lincoln is doing. He's doing a great job in this country. You know, and I thank God that he's doing it because if it wasn't, if all this stuff that's going on in our country
Mm-hmm.
would just go on, unnoticed. And I thank Lincoln for the guts standing up. Lincoln have guts. Lincoln have a spinal cord that take care of 3, 4, 5 men. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln is a no nonsense person, and they hate Lincoln for the and suddenly his reason for what he was doing. So judge.
Well, listen. You don't have to
Uh,
tell me about Lincoln, and you don't have to tell the Bahamian people about Lincoln. The Bahamian people know who this man is. Some of them are dishonest about it. Some of them don't want to speak the truth about it. And some of them just could care less. The point is, they believe in colors. A lot of people just believe in colors. What Lincoln has been doing for the last few years in this country has been trying to revolutionize these people in a way of thinking that we are one people going toward one goal as Bahamians. That's what he's been trying to do. And anybody who does not understand that is a damn fool. Simple as that. And there's nothing else you can say. I'm not going to apologize for that. I like what Lincoln is doing. I like some things that I see Pentada's doing. I like some stuff that one or two people in the PLP is trying to do. But a lot of these fellas that are not on the same page as Lincoln. That's what is actually happening. It is Lincoln's time to be on the center page of what's actually happening. And the media has not been accommodating because the media has been basically bought out to the point where they could care less what Lincoln's saying and what he's all about. They don't want the truth. The truth is something that will set us all free. That's all this is. There's nothing about trying to big up Lincoln or nothing like that. That's foolishness. Lincoln is his man. He's the fellow who has the determination. And the truth is that Lincoln is really the fellow who is out front right now. You don't know if God has put him out front. We know that it makes sense that he's out front. He's the only one who's talking about all these issues. Let us think for a second. Bahamians, we've got to begin thinking. Right now, we're talking about something as volatile as this whole matter with this recall, I call it a recall, on this verification nonsense that they're talking about now at the parliamentary department. People don't understand what that means. One thing that means is this. If you got people in the bush who ain't have no address, who hiding out in the bush, and there are many people in the bush who are hiding out right now, go to Glaston Road and you'll see. What's going to happen is that them people can come there and be verified too. Where do you think all these new passports are coming from and the people can't speak no damn English? See, that's how I got to talk to some of you all because you all don't seem to understand this whole thing. This is politics. And some people do anything to win by the political means. You see, that's what the problem is.
I always said, right, the reason why they don't want COI except in Parliament because they have so much dirt in there and they don't want nothing to comment. Don't want to comment.
And that's beside the point. I could care less. You see, the way the things are going right now, the Americans got their eyes fixed on not only Cuba and not only Mexico, but the Bahamas as well. I might as well tell you that first, so that people can understand what this is. The Tribune wrote an editorial this morning. The Tribune wrote an editorial this morning that says, who else are they looking at? Who else do they want to get in their net? The Tribune had the lead story in the Tribune this morning. See, people need to see that. They didn't call anybody's name. But guess what? Those who are guilty, they talking big time in the newspapers. Why are they talking? They talking, but they didn't want no one to come and deal with them in the Foreign Affairs Ministry. See, you got to understand this thing. This thing goes plenty sense, but people don't want to understand it because people are just who they are.
Yeah.
That's all this is. People are who they are.
Yeah, same this year, 2026, it's going to be a huge one.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be big.
I appreciate your call, my brother.
Yes, if you continue to carry on, right? Carry on.
Appreciate it. So, appreciate it. Lincoln Bean, See, sometimes when I look at this whole matter and I realize that people are hearing what we're saying, but they're not listening. They're not taking it in. They're not adding it up. They're not analyzing it. They don't have an analytical view on the points. That's what's been the problem in this Bahamas today. Back in the day, when we first started doing talk radio, and I'm the oldest one doing talk radio now, but I'll tell you this. We had people who called the shows and they made sense what they said. You know why? Because they were into it. It was new. It was into it. Today, we don't have that kind of caller calling the show. Now we have people texting, and that's good. That's fantastic. But at the same time, are we thinking along the lines as to where we should be going in building this country?
Mm-hmm.
See, I've always been on the mantra, we got to build this country. That's my whole thing. If you could build this country, let's build it for the children, because our time then come and gone.
I want to read a document, and I was saving this for later, but I'm going to read this document that's going to shock the whole Bahamas. Maduro isn't the first time that there was consideration of indicting a a political leader. Noriega, it happened with Noriega
Yes,
before,
in
but
1989.
yes, but before Noriega,
Mm-hmm.
there was another political leader that the
Mhm.
United States government was
Fernando, what's his name?
considering
Yep.
indicting. No, close, but no cigar. Um, I have a secret CIA document here, all right, where they were talking about arresting a political leader. I want you to see this document. Um, in fact, I'm going to share it. Let me share it on my screen so that those watching online can see it because I like to make sure that we always present what we are talking about. That's our reputation. I'm literally going to share my screen, and persons watching on one of our Facebook or YouTube pages will be able to see it. I'm sharing it now, but I'm going to let you see it, Steve.
Mm.
Uh, this is a secret CIA document secret CIA document that we have here.
Mhm.
Let your audience see it too on your Facebook page. Um, says Directorate of Intelligence. All right. The Bahamas likely reaction to U.S. drug indictment. A U.S. indictment of Bahamian Prime Minister Lyndon Pinlin on drug charges probably would not bring significant domestic or international pressure on on the Prime Minister, etc. So this was a document where they were making plans to. This is a CIA document, as you can see up here,
Mhm.
where they a lot of CIA documents in my possession. They have Freedom of Information Act. We don't.
Yeah.
Um, and they were actually considering arresting and the pros and cons of arresting Celine and Pinlin and others in the Bahamas and indicting them. Well, indicting them. And so what they did was they went through, and you can see this was a top secret document. They marked through that.
Mhm.
What they did was they tried to look at all the areas that would be affected. What would happen if they did the arrest?
Right.
Would
Fallout.
would it? They were saying that Finland is so strong that how would it affect him in the Caribbean?
Mhm.
What would he do with their bases, the U.S. bases there? Would he just ignore it, et cetera, et cetera? They were looking for the fallout, and they looked at everything: the economic fallout, the political fallout, the international fallout. And so this was an actual study of all of that that they were doing.
Mhm.
And I'm going to take you to the section. This is very curious. I'm going to take you to the section of this on Bahamian politics and the economy. Um, so I'm just going to read this, Steve, because the Bahamians we don't write our history. We don't know what's going on. And so this is, again, a CIA document. And says impact on Bahamian politics. I'm just going to read this
Mhm.
for the Bahamian people. It says, if Painlin is indicted by the United States, we believe he would continue to receive widespread domestic support unless credible evidence strongly implicating him were made available for public scrutiny. The Prime Minister, whose 20-year tenure as head of the government is longer than that of any other Caribbean leader, at present faces no strong challenge from within his Progressive Liberal Party
Mhm.
or the opposition Free National Movement.
Wow.
So they paid attention to that. Like, there's no one's going to challenge him in the BLP, and there's no one who left for them can't challenge him. And they go on. It says Pinlin currently has the loyalty of his cabinet and most members of the ruling party,
Mhm.
where the first serious challenge to his leadership might surface. Both Deputy Prime Minister Clement Maynard and Attorney General Paul Adderley have defended him rigorously in the face of press reports of an impending indictment on U.S. drug charges.
Right.
So you would remember this. This is from those days.
Absolutely, I remember.
We believe they would continue um, to back Pinlin unless the evidence of his guilt were overwhelming. Backbenchers from the ruling party have limited their criticism of Prime Minister in the past and probably would stick to this
Exactly.
stance as long as the evidence against him were perceived as weak. So backbenchers in parliament are supposed to be help the opposition by
Right.
standing up to keep the government's foot to the fire.
Right.
We don't have backbenchers because they have big cabinets. But I'm continue. It's going to get interesting.
Mhm.
Ruling party dissidents and independent members of parliament currently pose no significant threat to Pinling's authority, and by themselves probably would be unable to sway the opinions of legislators or the public at large. So they even look at the independent persons. They identified everyone. In this report, they looked at every individual to see who was strong, who was weak. They looked at the Vanguard Party back in the day. They looked at everything. The independent people, they looked at everything. It's proper study. They're still doing it today. I'm going to continue. More. This is where it gets interesting. The Free National Movement currently is suffering from weak leadership and severe financial constraints that seriously undermine its effectiveness as an opposition party. You see how they study?
Mm-hmm.
Its members might attempt to open debate in Parliament on Pinling's indictment, but the ruling party probably would counter that the Free National Movement itself is tainted by drug-related corruption. They gave details, but it's redacted on the document. That is serious. What they're saying is, Peter, he know better than Paul. So the FNM tries to play like their party is so good. But the US knows things that our public don't know.
And that's evidence of what is happening right now today, because it perhaps stays the same. The same two parties in, they still got the whole file on the whole two parties, and
They know
Jesus.
that the Free National Movement is just as bad. So I want people in the Bahamas to wake up. This is an actual document, a signed, sealed document. So while we was talking with Pinland and what he was doing, the U.S. government was saying, "Oh, but
what we can do is
the FNM is the same thing,"
Yeah, I see the point.
and they was working together.
My Lord, 5 minutes behind the hour
I could call their names, but I won't do that on this show. I'll do it on my live.
5 minutes beyond the hour.
All of them are corrupt.
Of 7 o'clock. So that's what we're going to stop it here today. We can't take any more calls. I'm sorry, we can't take any more calls because our show is over and we have to run and pay all the bills. Thank you so much, Lincoln Man. I appreciate
Thank you, my brother.
being here on the show today. And I'm hoping that Pia, not a Pia, but
yes, Pia Glover.
Pia Glover and all the other people within the framework of the PLP would do the right thing with that whole matter with this whole toxic painting stuff that's been happening here, and put that on stop list right away, because you have to do that, because you don't need anything to cripple your chances of trying to go to the polls. But if you believe that you could go to the polls anyway with or without these people's blessings, and you want to take a chance on that, well, go ahead. I can't blame you. But the point is this: we didn't know what's happening. We didn't see this whole thing was happening with the parliamentary registration department. We don't like what was happening. That's never happened before in this country. Believe me if I tell you that, that's never happened before.
Wow.
And I can tell you this, that is very dangerous what is actually happening, because we don't know who's who, and we ain't gonna never know who's who, and they all got our passport. That's why the Americans are looking at us with these jaundiced eyes, because anybody could vote in this town because they got citizenship, and plenty of them people come from the back of the bush. And I don't mean our bushes, I mean back of the bush on Bahamian land, but they ain't in no position to be living in no residential area or doing the things that they supposed to, like paying BEC bill, paying water bill. Mind that. I leave that with you tonight. Mind that, because we could be in big, big trouble because of that. Good night to one and all. We'll see you tomorrow when we come back here with hard copy, and we're going to be on tomorrow with blackmail.
Thank you all for tuning in. It's always good to have you all here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a country to save, and we need you to stand with us, to stand up and fight. More on those CIA documents when I go live on Sunday. Make sure you're there, because there's some shocking things in our history. The PLP and FNM is one. For those people who are saying that you should get rid of this PLP and just bring the FNM, you're bringing us to the same problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's stand up. Let's do what we have to do. You don't have to go and verify. All right, I spoke to Thompson myself. I should have said this live on air. Verification is not a prerequisite for voting. Mr. Thompson informed me that that's just something they are trying to do, but whether you verify or not, you will still be able to vote once you're registered. Okay, and so that is confirmed. So, ladies and gentlemen, that verifying thing they're asking you to do, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. All right. So, God bless you. And they're not clearing it up because they want you to come, because they feel if they tell you outright, then you wouldn't come to verify. So, God bless you.